Luxury Staffing, the podcast by Morgan and Mallet.
Hello there, podcast listeners. In today's episode of the Household Luxury Staffing podcast by Morgan and Mallet, we have our senior recruiter, Dave Lasponas, from our Dubai office. And we're going to dig into a lot of topics covering the Philippines and Filipino workers, because that is Dave's original country of origin. So Dave, could you tell us a bit about yourself and the kind of work you do, please?
Sure. So my name is Dave Lasponas, and yes, I'm a Filipino from the Philippines. So I would describe myself as, easygoing, adventurous, and someone who loves to travel and experience new cultures. And I graduated in my hometown with a degree of Bachelor of Secondary Education major in Biological Science. And after graduating, I work as a high school teacher. And at the same time, I was elected as the youth chairperson in our community, so which is the highest elected position representing the youth. So in this role, I was responsible for planning and implementing various youth programs, projects, and community activities. And these initiatives were funded by the Philippine national government, and I work closely with local officials to ensure that they were successfully carried out and benefited the young people in our community. So those are the kind of work I have done back in my country.
Fantastic. And how did you end up in Dubai? How did you end up working for Morgan Mallet?
So I always wanted to go abroad actually. And then since I do have a lot of relatives who work here as well, so that's why I decided to come here in the UAE and look for an opportunity. And then when I came here, so I checked in a lot of platforms. You have here Naukri Golf, Indeed, we have the LinkedIn. So that's why I found Morgan Mallet International, and they're looking for HR assistant. Even though I don't have a background in terms of sourcing top tier candidates, but when I read the job description, I think I can handle it because I also have this kind of attitude. And I at first I was just thinking I just need a job. I just need a working visa here in the UAE. But then after a few months, I like the job, and I'm still here for 2 years now.
Excellent. Wow. So you started off as a HR assistant. Now you're a recruiter. Is that right?
Yes.
Excellent. Excellent. And and how long have you been a recruiter now?
For a recruiter, so I just started last February. So
Yeah.
after my renewal, so they promoted me, and then I actually already started to work last year also as a recruiter for just few months, because there are instances that the recruiter is they are having their annual leave, so Mr. Morgan and Miss Lorene decided to for me to take over. So during those times, I also already knew they already trained me to be a recruiter, but as a full-time recruiter, so they just promoted me last February this year.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Now, when you started as a recruiter and you saw the salaries that agencies like Morgan and Mallet offer, what was your honest reaction to that?
So when I first saw the salaries offered by Morgan Mallet International, I was, genuinely impressed and very happy, because I noticed that the compensation packages are competitive, and it is fair, and it reflects the skills, the experience, and the responsibilities required for each role, may it be in domestic staffing, in luxury hospitality, and also in the yacht. So what I also appreciated is that the salary ranges are also aligned with the expectations of the high caliber candidates. So this makes the recruitment process much smoother, because candidates feel that their expertise is valued, and the clients are able to attract top talent. So for me, offering such a fair compensation is very, very important because it benefits both the employer and the employee. And when candidates, when they feel that they are um, motivated and appreciated, so they were likely retain their job for longevity. So I believe this is one of the reasons why Morgan Mallet has built a strong reputation in the luxury recruitment industry.
Super, super. And I guess it makes your job so much easier as
Yeah,
well. The salary is so much higher. It's
exactly.
like, okay, I'm worth this much and it's a good opportunity. And it just, yeah, it just smooths
Yeah.
everything out. So
So when you yeah, sorry.
carry on.
Yeah. So when you post this job description on LinkedIn, say for example, so a lot of candidates will reach out to you, may it be in your email or on LinkedIn. So that makes the job easier.
I see. I see. So you're not chasing, they're coming to you and you
Mm.
can start the process. Excellent.
Mm.
Now, a lot of Morgan told me this about a month ago. I was quite surprised, but he said a lot of Filipino candidates see a high salary and assume it has to be a scam. Why do you think that reaction is so common?
So I think the reaction is very common, especially here in the UAE. And to be honest with you, Ben, there are many recruitment scams here in the UAE. But scammers are everywhere. But here in the UAE, it's also understandable that the candidates become cautious whenever they see a high-paying job advertisement. So it's actually not just Filipinos, but candidates from many different nationalities have either experienced scam themselves or know someone who has. And because of that, when they see an attractive salary, their first thought is often, this seems too good to be true. And unfortunately, some scammers may make their advertisements look very professional, but there are actually some that you can easily spot on. So they create somehow convincing job descriptions. They also conduct interviews and even pretend to represent legitimate companies. So eventually they ask candidate to pay like a processing fee or some other type of payment. So and then once the payment is made, then they disappear. So actually I think it's a good thing that candidates verify the legitimacy of a company before proceeding, and they should always check the company's official website. So we have the Google. You can review their online presence, verify their contact details, and make sure that the recruiter is also connected to the company. And they should also be cautious if they are pressured to make quick decisions or send money. And one of the biggest red flags is when a recruitment agency asks the candidate to pay a fee. So, reputable recruitment agency do not charge candidates for finding them a job. But back in the Philippines, there are agencies that actually ask for processing fee. But most likely here in the UAE, they won't ask the candidate for that. So it is the clients or the employers are the ones who pay for the recruitment services. So that's also one that I did before when the recruiter called me when I applied here in the Morgan Mallet International. So I actually checked their online presence. So I've read positive feedback on the Google reviews. So that's why I initially attended the in-person interview. So the rest is history.
Fantastic. Do you know anyone, Dave, who has been targeted by a fake job offer? And what happened?
Yes, I did. So there are a few of my friends, and also some of the candidates also told me their experiences when I also interviewed them that they are also being scammed. So some of my friends, they actually pay some amount, decent amount of money. So it's a processing fee, and then after that they did not receive any job offer. So that's a time they already thought that it's a scam.
Wow, interesting. Okay. And so you said you did your due diligence before
Mm.
working. before looking at any company and before looking at Morgan Mallet, you checked out all the reviews, the online presence. And what made you decide to trust Morgan and Mallet when a lot of people in your position may have walked away?
What gave me confidence to trust Morgan Mallet was that, as what I have mentioned, I did my research first. I checked their online presence, and they everything looks professional and transparent. So when they contacted me, the company name also appeared on my phone, so which gave me additional confidence that they were a legitimate business company. So throughout the recruitment process, no one asked me for any payment, and the communication was professional from start to finish. I was interviewed by Mr. Morgan, and also with another recruiter, and then there's a second interview with Miss Lorene. So I felt comfortable moving forward, and I'm glad that I did.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Now, how does the fear of being scammed shape the choices of Filipinos when they're making decisions about their career?
I don't want to sugarcoat it, but I think many Filipinos have been conditioned by their previous experiences working abroad. So in countries like, could I name it, like Hong Kong, Singapore, and some other parts of Asia, it's common to see Filipino domestic workers taking on multiple roles at once. They could be like a housekeeper, a nanny, slash cook, slash caregiver, slash pet caretaker, and sometimes even more. And in some cases, they accept relatively low salaries because they're just doing it for the sake of supporting their families back home. We always do that. So when they come across a job advertisement in the UAE, like offering 4,000, 5,000, 6, or even 7 up to 10,000 dirhams for a similar role, their first reaction is often, this can't be real. So to provide you a context, so in some areas in Asia where they previously worked, they just receive 2,000 dirhams. But here in the UAE, we have an advertisement that they can be paid 4,000 up to 10,000 dirhams. So that's why they will think that it's a scam. So I completely understand why they think that way. And during my screening calls, I always reassure the candidates by explaining that they can verify Morgan Mallet themselves. So rather than asking them to click a link of our website, I will just tell them to search Morgan Mallet on Google, because sometimes candidates don't want to click a link because there's a lot of phishing scams here as well. So
Mhm. Yeah.
I encourage them to just visit our website, so, and also our LinkedIn page, and read our Google reviews. And I also make it very clear with them that we never ask candidates to pay any registration or recruitment fees, and it is our client, the employers, pay for recruitment services and not the candidates. And I also explain that the salaries we offer, it reflects the level of the clients, and the value they place on the experienced household staff or in luxury hospitality. And we work only with VIPs, ultra high net worth families, royal households, and even those regular private families, because there are a lot of them who also pay fair and competitive salaries, because they recognize the professionalism, and the experience and the responsibilities that these roles require.
And interesting. Right. What would you say to a Filipino candidate who is looking at a great offer right now, but might be too nervous to apply?
I think it's important to acknowledge that as a newcomer in the UAE or in any countries, so some people may experience situations where they already attend an interview and are unexpectedly asked for a payment. So of course, the response is to refuse and walk away. So while it can feel like a waste of time, those experiences often become a valuable lessons. So it can make you more cautious, more aware, and better at identifying red flags in the future. So in a way, they can help you grow and become a wiser in your job search. And since moving abroad already requires you to step out of your comfort zone. These challenges are sometimes, part of the process. And I believe it is important not to let fear completely stop you from pursuing any opportunities, because um, we should learn from those experiences. We should always stay alert and continue looking for genuine opportunities. And with the right mindset and proper caution, you will eventually find the right job.
Excellent advice there. Excellent. I agree with a lot of what you just said there, Dave. Sound knowledge. And my final question now, Dave, is what do you wish staffing agencies understood about Filipino candidates and how these jobs are viewed back home?
Mhm. Um, I think it's important for staffing agencies to understand that many Filipino candidates approach overseas job opportunities with a mix of hope and caution, because back home, working abroad is often seen as a way to support our families and improve our future. So people are very, motivated, but also very careful because of these experiences with scams or unfair recruitment practices. And many candidates have previously worked in countries where domestic or luxury hospitality roles often involve multiple responsibilities, yet the compensation is, low compared to the workload. And because of that, when they see higher paying offers in places like the UAE, their first reaction can sometimes be hesitation or disbelief. And at the same time, I see this also as a platform where I can also speak from the perspective of a Filipino worker, that I fully understand the business side of recruitment, but I also hope that the employers and agencies remain sensitive to the reality of domestic workers, and not just domestic workers, but in general, that they should not generalize the past experiences as something that should define the future expectations. Just because some workers may have accepted lower salaries before, doesn't necessarily mean that it is still acceptable or fair moving forward. Because Filipino workers and many other nationalities in similar roles are highly hardworking, adaptable, and often go beyond their job descriptions. So any additional responsibilities, like they run errands, other household tasks, or in luxury hospitality, they have also done everything. So even if it was not originally outlined in their contract, so for that reason, I believe that they should properly valued and fairly compensated for the work that they do. And many of them, they are supporting their families back home, paying for the education, living expenses, their daily needs, while also managing their own costs abroad in a different currency and higher costs of living. So I hope that the employers and the clients take the time to truly put themselves in the shoes of their staff. So fair treatment, respect, and proper compensation are not just about the business. It's about recognizing the human effort and sacrifice behind the work. And I believe when workers feel valued and respected, it naturally, it leads to better performance, loyalty, and also for longevity or long-term success for both sides.
Absolutely, yeah. Morgan said about a week ago that you get a candidate and they stay long term, and that's when the real luxury starts to kick in, the real benefit, because the longer they're there, the better they know the client. They can start anticipating needs,
Right.
expecting things, preparing in advance just because they've been there so long. And that's when like the real luxury service starts happening predictably, reliably, and repeatedly. So yeah,
They already know
fantastic.
the preferences of their employers.
Exactly that. Exactly. Right then, Dave, last question
Mm.
before we wrap this up. Is there anything that you feel I should have asked you, but I didn't?
I think you already asked me all of the questions. that you should know about the Filipino workers. So, as what I have mentioned, Filipino workers tend to accept like a lot of workloads because they have this can-do attitude, and they always tend to say yes and yes and yes. I can do that. I can do this, even though it's already outside the job description or the job offer that they have signed. So they have a lot of slashes. So those, I think it's very important, as what I have mentioned a while ago, that clients should always provide the right amount or right payment to their staff, not just about Filipino but to all Asian and European nationalities, because I believe um in reality we still have this mindset that Asians are being still underpaid. So I know every one of us already know that. So it's a sensitive topic, but I hope the clients should always value their candidates. So regardless of their nationalities, regardless of their background, they should be what they call this one. They should always appreciate their staff. Of course, not just about the it's not just about the money, but when they feel that they were provided with the right package, with the right benefits, of course your candidate will always prove you that they are the right candidate. May it be in your villa, may it be in any company. So I think that's the very important thing that our listeners, our audience should know, especially clients.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, totally agree there. Fantastic advice. Okay, that's the end of this podcast. I would like to thank our listeners. And if our listeners are interested in finding a new candidate, or if you are a candidate and you are looking for a new position, a new job, I'd strongly recommend to go to householdstaff.agency, and there you'll be able to see the jobs offered, the salaries offered, and also if you are a client, you'll be able to get in contact and start speaking with a recruiter about your next household hire. So that's everything. Thank you very much, Dave. I'm wishing you a super day. You've been a fantastic guest. And
You
yeah,
too.
thank you very much.
Thank you,
Take care.
and have a great day.
Cheers,
Bye.
you too.